Hi everybody, it's meteorologist Joe Chaffee, Fios 1 News Long Island and Fios 1 News New Jersey. And shortly we will have meteorologist Joe Rayo, Fios 1 News Hudson Valley. I don't know why all of a sudden I got all these extra boxes here. This is weird. Very strange, Joseph. We've got strange happenings here.
I'm looking in a mirror.
Hang on, let me see if I can fix this. Oh, okay, I fixed it. I don't know, I guess I gave the internet a headache or something. Welcome to tonight's Joe and Joe show. As you can see, the little, where is it? There it is. The little ball up in the corner. You know what I just decided to start off with, Joe?
What?
I thought we'd look at the southwest U.S. because it's hot down there, and they have these excessive heat warnings are up.
Yes.
And I got a map up of the, these are the actual current temperatures. Let me just bring it front and center for everybody. And we'll disappear off the screen for a minute. But those are some of the numbers right now. It's 113. Now, the blue number, the dew point.
Oh, Bullhead City.
Bullhead City, Arizona, 113 with the dew point, I think, of 25. And I can't see what that is because the number is over it on the California side. But whatever it is, it's 109 with a dew point of 11. I happened to pull up Las Vegas. The dew point's missing there on Vegas, but I happened to pull the observation up on Las Vegas a little while ago. It was 111, and the dew point was 1.
Oh, God.
But you know what the funny thing is? I know, it's just really bizarre. The funny thing is, when you look at some of these numbers and they say it's a dry heat,
the hair in your nose will dry up.
Well, you know, as the heat indices, you know, which is supposed to tell you how it actually feels, they were running about 8 to 10 degrees lower than the actual air temperature. So it actually felt like it was 101.
Right.
So I guess when we have our 90 with the humidity that we have and the heat index is at 101,
right,
it's supposed to feel the same as it does in Vegas when it's 111 and the dew point is 1? I don't think so. See, this is why I don't like these feel like numbers, because they, you know, it feels like what it feels like depending on where you are. It's always hot when it's here and humid. They go together. It's hot and dry in the southwest. They go together.
Right.
And you know, those are two different physical experiences, in my never to be humble opinion.
Yeah, well, I've been out to Arizona. I've been to Las Vegas when it's been very, very hot, and you know, it's different from being in Florida, for example, in July or August. And I've done that too. It feels like you're almost swimming. The dew point temperatures in Florida are so very, very high, and there's a different type of feel to the heat down in the southeastern states as opposed to being out in the southwest. My goodness, look at all those temperatures.
Well, yes, and they're in the 70s actually. I think these are all temperatures. Yeah, these are temperatures actually. So because of clouds and rain and everything else, they're kind of holding themselves. Wait, they can't be down in the 70s and far. Something's wrong here. And I don't think these are dew points. Hang on, let me. Oh, okay, I see. They actually are the dew points, Joe. All right, because the temperatures are behind them. They just popped up.
Right.
So I should probably get a little bit tighter. Let me make sure everybody's seeing the same thing.
Now, you have a dew point anywhere above 70, and that's the kind of situation where the wallpaper begins to peel off the wall.
Well, I mean, look at this. It's 8. You know, in Florida, you got temperatures in the low to mid 80s across North Florida, and the dew points are in the mid to upper 70s. But at the same time, having lived on the Gulf Coast, and I lived in New Orleans for 3 years, and which is basically southeastern Louisiana is just a swamp. And I don't mean that as I'm not directing that at New Orleans, the city. Right. It's literally in a swamp. It's all below sea level.
Right.
So, but the temperatures every afternoon getting to near 90. You had the on-time 3 o'clock thunderstorm every day, and it just felt different than the humidity that we get up here. It's just a whole different experience.
Oh yeah, yeah. I've been the first time I was ever in Florida, and it was actually for the launch of the space shuttle STS-8, the first nighttime launch of the shuttle. That would be the only thing that would draw me down to go to Florida in August, but I did, and I commented later on when I got back to everybody I spoke with. I said the heat felt, the intensity of the heat, combined with that high level of humidity, felt like 3 times what I've ever experienced up here in the New York metropolitan area.
Yeah.
There it is, 109.
This is Vegas, 109, dew point 3. Humidity 2%. You're right. It'll just dry everything. You dry completely up. But there's a west-southwest breeze at 21 miles an hour, and the heat index is 100.
Right. That's the other thing. When I was in Las Vegas, this was back in 2012, I said that because of that gusty breeze, it always seems to be gusty in Las Vegas. I said I felt like I was walking into a 1,200-watt hair dryer. It was that kind of a day. I was like,
oh God. God. Now, we were talking the other day, before we even get to current weather, you were saying how it's been a long time since you've experienced one of these prolonged periods of heat and humidity. Right. Well, we've got this one sharp upper trough that's coming into the east on Monday, so we're going to get a nice shot of dry Canadian air that's going to take us into midweek. But it looks like we are going to eventually go into a ridge in the east by the end of next week, and it carries through all through the first week of July.
That's right. I hear now people saying, you had to open your mouth, right, Rayo?
Well, I mean, this might be your prolonged period of 90s over over at 4 or 5 days.
For example, I mean, you see in the upper left-hand corner there that trough in the western states, and you would hope that would dig down into, let's say, the Great Lakes and across, but it looks like the ridge is going to be strong enough so it's going to go up and over the top of the ridge and keep us in very warm conditions for, as you just pointed out, right on through the first part of, or the first half of July.
And, one of the things we talk about during the spring and the wintertime, we're always looking for that negative NAO, that North Atlantic oscillation going negative, and the blocking in Greenland. Well, when you have a negative NAO in the summertime, the outcome in the east can be the reverse, because of the fact that it forces troughing in the western part of the United States, which is key here. You're going to have that trough in the west, and the jet in Canada, the jet stream that's been coming down out of Canada into New England, is basically going to retreat north of the border and stay there and allow this Atlantic ridge. Here it is on the wide view. You can see up by Greenland and Iceland, you've got a bit of a blocking high that's pushing in from England, but then the trough in the east lifts out, and now suddenly you've got a big, big ridge that's running across the Atlantic all the way into the southwestern part of the United States. This is the 4th of July, if we want to look that far ahead.
Right.
So I'm glad I opened my pool.
Well, it looks like, and I did get a look at both the 6 to 10 and the 8 to 14 day outlooks from the climate.
And they agreed with us.
And they agreed with us. They especially so in the 8 to 14. The 8 to 14 had higher probabilities for above normal temperatures in the northeast as opposed to the 6 to 10. Usually it's the other way around. So it's looking now more and more like we are going to be getting into a prolonged period of above normal temperature here in the eastern half of the country. In fact, for much of the eastern part of the United States.
Meanwhile, for this weekend, dilemma in the forecast. This is a big weekend for graduations, and people are asking me about, showers in the morning, showers in the afternoon, showers in the evening, because they have a party plan. Do they have to get a tent? Do they not get a tent? Et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. This is the problem is that I don't think either of us can say there's going to be a shower at point A at a certain time on Saturday, but not necessarily at point B, and maybe or maybe not at point C, no showers at all at point D. The way I'm kind of looking at it is it's on and off showers. The risk is there for the whole area. Some places might see them, some places may see less. And as far as when, I'm going to guess at this point that there should be something maybe early Saturday morning that moves through, and then maybe again later in the day, some dry stretches in between. But I couldn't put my finger on it.
I was trying to figure out the wording for Saturday. Do I say occasional light rain, drizzle, and fog, or do I say intermittent light rain, drizzle, and fog? And I think I finally ended up with intermittent as opposed to occasional. It is the classic approaching warm front pattern, though, of low-hanging clouds.
Yes.
Periods of light rain or drizzle, patchy areas of fog, and then as we move into Saturday night, the warm front begins to edge in from the south. We actually may see temperatures rise later Saturday night, and then when you wake up on Sunday morning, the difference between Saturday and Sunday morning is that on Saturday morning, I expect to wake
Which is
up.
the map, by the way, that I have up now. So I'll draw the warm front in it. It's
Right.
like this.
Right. I expect on Saturday morning when I wake up to look outside the window and I will see that it's a bit wet with cloud-filled skies. The difference is that I expect on Sunday morning when I wake up that I won't be able to see out the window at all because the humidity will be so high
Right.
that fog forms on the window. And that's kind of like what I'm expecting for Sunday. A noticeably muggier, more humid day. Now, on the other hand, since we're going to be in the warm sector, assume it's going to be in the warm sector with the front to our north, we actually may get some breaks of sunshine, which is more than what I can say right now for Saturday. But on the other hand, you get breaks of sunshine and a muggy, humid air mass that could eventually lead by later Sunday or Sunday evening to scattered showers and storms.
See, here's the map that everybody was looking at here. Is the let me just go back to the paint box. Okay, so this is Saturday, and the warm front is to our south. We've got this onshore flow because of the high going out off the coast of Maine, and that does make it kind of pretty much. I would think it would be cloudy just about everywhere all day long.
Right.
Although sometimes you can get surprised. But by Sunday morning, and here's the map for Sunday morning. Let me make sure everybody's seeing what I'm seeing. By Sunday morning, that warm front is. It's already somewhere out here, and it's
right.
it's already through, and there's a trailing cold front that's going to be coming by at some point Sunday night. Maybe we'll get a shower or thunderstorm ahead of it, but yeah, we're going to be in this kind of warm, humid air mass on Sunday.
Right.
And I agree. I think we're probably of the 2 days. Sunday will be the quote better of the 2 days, except that you're going to trade it off with humidity and maybe a scattered thunderstorm that pops up in a few places during the afternoon and evening. But Saturday, more of a cloudy, damp, dreary kind of day.
Kind of a clammy type of pattern. We'll be in an easterly flow. The water temperatures right now are running, in the low 70s, upper 60s, low 70s?
I think they're actually lower than that. They're more like lower mid-60s.
Okay, so a flow of air coming in from off of that cool ocean, keeping us cool. The normal high temperature in late June, at least in the Hudson Valley, should be low to mid 80s, and it's probably going to be a good 8 or 10 degrees or more cooler than that. Maybe only the low 70s on Saturday. Dare I say, if we have a thick enough cloud cover and also more of a pattern of drizzle or light rain, some places may not even crack 70 on Saturday.
I would think along the shore that would be the case. Probably staying in the 60s
for the first Saturday of summer.
Here's the you can see the warm front is actually beginning to set up. This frontal boundary has been pretty much there for the last few weeks from Virginia west-northwestward, and some of those areas down in parts of the Mid-Atlantic states have gotten tremendous amounts of rain over the last several weeks. They're getting more of it tonight, but that boundary to the south, the high pressure to the north, and now we're going to see this zone move up. The only thing is that unlike what's going on tonight on the radars with some of the heavier rains that they're seeing in western Virginia and north and west of there, the intensity of that rain, I don't see that holding up. I don't see mega heavy downpours going on uncontrollably on Saturday.
Well, not on Saturday, but on Sunday, if the air mass certainly looks humid enough so that we might see perceptible water amounts on the order of 1 or 2 inches.
Yeah, they might. If a couple of thunderstorms pop up on Sunday, I agree. You probably could see a heavier thunderstorm.
It's a funny thing. We have a weather station at home. It's a pretty darn good one that's set up in my backyard. And we had a couple of days ago. We had, according to my wife, it was coming down really hard. In fact, on the weather screen, it actually says it's raining cats and dogs.
Yeah.
But she says, I think the rain gauge is clogged. I said, why do you think it's clogged? He says, well, we only picked up 0.25 inches out of this, and it looked like it was a lot more. I said, well, how long did the rain last? She said, about 15 minutes. I said, dear, 15 minutes, a quarter of an inch, that's an inch per hour. That's not heavy enough for you?
I know.
That was a pretty darn heavy rain total. I mean, it wasn't 2 inches in 15 minutes or whatever like that, something ridiculous like you might get with Sandy or with with an Irene, let's say. But that was a pretty formidable or formidable. What is it? Formidable or formidable?
I like formidable.
Right. I always grew up with formidable. And then all of a sudden, about 10 years ago, I started hearing people saying formidable.
No, it's formidable.
Well, whatever. But I mean, that's what we're talking about for Sunday. Probably is that you get these sudden bursts for 15 or 20 minutes of heavy rain, and could drop, quickie quarter or third of an inch on you.
Timothy Veltman pointing out that brown is the new green this year for the lawns up where he is in upstate New York. In spite of some of the on and off thunderstorms that have gone on up there, it's gotten a bit dry, especially in the last week or two.
See, and that's another thing. We had such an incredible winter, 4 nor'easters, all that snow and rain that fell, and I remember thinking to myself, maybe we won't have to use the word drought in the upcoming spring and summer forecast.
We haven't had a lot of rain this month.
And but here we are. We're talking about now. Lawns are beginning to brown up a little bit, and we're looking now at potentially a protracted or prolonged spell of dry and very warm to even hot weather. So that very quickly will go through your water supply.
Melissa Barish Pritchard wants to know the weather on Long Island tomorrow because she's having a pool party. People are always having parties and they never invite us, and they wonder why the weather doesn't turn out as nice as they would like it to be.
Well, I think you said also, and you're the Long Island man here at FiOS 1, but I think we're talking about an early sunny start, but as we move into the midday and afternoon, a gradual buildup of cloud cover. No rain, but just cloud cover that will be building in advance of the warm front that's off to our south, right?
Yes, Pro Fran Atchie says, lived out in Nevada, and 109 is nothing, but your mouth is constantly dry and you're drinking lots of water. I would imagine you would be with the dew points down in the single digits.
I never heard of a dew point depression of 109 degrees. Here in our neck of the woods, if we ever had a day where it was like 80 degrees and a dew point of 40, and that's happened very infrequently, but it has happened, you say to yourself, my goodness, it's just how dry, but I can't even imagine a dew point difference, a temperature and dew point difference of something like over 80 or 100 degrees.
I was out in Phoenix many years ago, in July, and and also in Palm Springs, and it was every bit of 110. I just remember that it really didn't bother me that much. I just felt like I was in a sauna, and it was for me it was comfortable. Of course, I was a lot younger, but
Now, what as the Isle of Lucy expert, what did Mrs. McGillicuddy comment on the weather in Palm Springs? Palm Springs, where what did she say? Where the sun
never sets, right?
The sun never sets. I don't know. I remember she made a comment about they were looking out the window. It was raining.
Right. Yes, because it was pouring rain. Palm Springs. Well, you know what? Let's Google it.
Oh, come on.
This week, look, I got 23 baloney right. So Palm Springs. Let me see if I remember this. Springs where the sun never sets. No. I mean, that's not it. You're gonna have. I
guess we're just gonna have to wait for that episode to come around.
Well, that was the John Wayne episode, right? One of the John Wayne episodes.
I don't think it was the John Wayne episode. It was
Was
that the Rock Hudson?
Rock Hudson,
Rock
yes.
Hudson episode.
Right, because she tells a story about. Let's see. Hot and humid pattern for Sid Jokum. That's correct. Danny Nankamar. Where can we go on the website to see the long range warning? I don't like the long range. Okay, I'm not sure what you're asking about, what you want to see. But if you want to see the climate stuff, if you go to Tropical Tidbits, just click on the climate part of the menu, and you can pull down the climate models, and they'll take you out. The next 6 weeks in general in terms of temperature trends and that sort of thing. Right,
and if you want to also, you can go on Google and just simply type CPC, and second or third thing that comes up on the Google list is Climate Prediction Center, and there you can see the maps updated on a daily basis. In fact, tomorrow, Friday, the experimental 3 to 4 week outlook is coming up, and if what we're seeing now means anything, I would suspect that 3 to 4 week outlook is probably going to be showing a lot of red or orange in the eastern and central part of the country.
They do when they make their forecast, though, they do tend to trail the models by a day or so. So if there are any changes, they may not always catch it. Hi to Stephen Franco. William Uber pointing out that the water in Mauritius Bay is still on the cold side, making fluke fishing not good. Good to know, because I've still yet to go out fluke fishing this year. I don't know if Phil Buzz is on tonight and heard that.
What did I see? I showed you. I didn't show it to you, but I described it. I saw a picture. It was with Rich Von Olin. Our
oh yeah, he was out lifting doormats.
And there was a fluke. He didn't catch it. His buddy caught it. It was like 12 pounds. Is that possible? A 12-pound fluke?
Oh, it sounds pretty big.
That's a pretty big a doormat. You talk about that. It was.
They can get big, and when you fish for them, and when you get one on your line, yes, it is just like lifting a doormat.
Yeah.
Because that's what they look like. But I'm waiting to get out there one of these days really soon. I'm going to try, maybe I'll do a little bass fishing on Sunday. I might go to the local lake and throw the line in and see what I come up with. Oh, he likes our ties, Jonathan Sachs.
Oh, thank you. Yes, here you go. There you go. Nice red coloration here.
Yes. All right.
I'm wearing my chicken wire shirt tonight.
Oh, I got one of those.
Yeah.
I'll wear it tomorrow. I don't know. Tropics are quiet. I'm trying to think if there's anything else going on. Really isn't. This is one of, we're at that point in the year where it either it's hot or it's not.
Well, the doldrums of weather.
Right. So but the tropics are quiet on the Atlantic side, and there's nothing really down the road, which is not unusual for this time of year. Most years in June and through at least, I would say, the first 3 weeks of July, it's usually pretty quiet. So
right.
It's playing according to form. Okay, let's leave it at that. We'll be back tomorrow, Joe and I, for the Friday rendition of the Joe and Joe Weather Show. So be sure to tune in to get your latest on what's going to go on this weekend and in the long term. And don't forget, he's going to be on Fios 1 News Hudson Valley coming up at 10 o'clock.
And Lower Hudson Valley.
Lower Hudson Valley.
The people upstairs, they want it in the proper title or the proper brand.
He's going to be on Fios 1 News Lower Hudson Valley at 10 o'clock.
He is going to be on Fios 1 News Long Island and New Jersey.
Upper and Lower New Jersey.
Upper and Lower New Jersey, yes.
Coming up at 10 as well, so be sure to tune in. Brian Fitzgerald and Jeff Banson will be on in the morning to get you started on your Friday.
And in the midday hours, we have Addison Green and Brittany Borer, and they will be holding the fort together until 2 o'clock when he and I come strolling in and start cracking jokes. And and it's a Friday, so we'll be in a little bit more of a happy mood tomorrow, I guess.
All right, folks, have a great night, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Au reservoir.